journal. I am so excited and so proud of myself. And look, I even use it myself. I have using that setup for the past 5 years, and it's just the three things that are important to you, not your to-do list, but what really matters. Something that you're grateful for, something that you're proud of, something that you dream of, and something that you pray for. Something simple but effective. And I'm just happy, that I have a physical copy, and I hope that it will help somebody else as well as it had helped me in the past 5 years. You can find it at lifewithfrancie.com/shop with some cute notebooks as well. So go check it out. Hello, welcome to Life with Francie podcast, a place where you will find all kinds of conversation like mental health, self-love, self-care, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a place where we support one another in business and personal life. Hope you enjoy this episode. Now, let's get the show started. On today's episode, this conversation was thanks to Podmatch, a place amazing for podcast hosts and podcast guests to find tools and resources. So go check it out. On today's episode, I have the pleasure to talk to Miss Donna, who is a visionary founder of Vibrant Living International, a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering individuals on their own journey to vibrant purposes. Driven lives. Her mission is to empower you to manifest your dream of abundance, all while maintaining harmony in your life and fostering thriving relationship. She is also the host of You Were Designed for Greatness, where she shares her intuitive insight, insight and wisdom. Welcome us, Donna. Tell us,
Thank
what
you,
is life with
Francie.
you?
Life is amazing. That's how life is with Donna.
I love that.
That's how
So,
life is with Donna. It's amazing.
yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Absolutely. Going back to my childhood and teenage years where things were not so amazing, is where I'd like to start today, sharing my story. And to summarize it quickly, at the age of 15, I became a mother. And I grew up in a blended family, and me becoming a mother wasn't a consensual situation. So can you remember where you were when you were 15?
I was married.
You were married, so you've got a story too.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and we're kids.
Yeah, kids.
And trying to make adult decisions. And for me, all of the emotions that were around an incident like that. But I had a baby girl, and that was the beautiful thing that came out of that. And I did raise her. And so learning how to rise above what people are saying about you, your own anger and frustration and low self-esteem, and figuring out how to create a life is where I began. Comparing to today, where I have been married, the month that we're recording this, 39 years. And
congratulations.
I have 3 kids and 7 grandkids, and I have Vibrant Living, which is reaching people all around the world to help them to live vibrantly. So it's a big contrast to where I began to today.
I absolutely love that, and I can relate to part of your story. And yeah, so when does the mission start? That you go through life and then you're like, now I have this story, I got this message, now let me go empower others.
Oh, I started meeting with people and helping them early on in my life, probably my late 20s. So I have been coaching and mentoring people for over 25 years. So I've always been a mission on helping people to grow and live. And one of the ways is rise above the painful stuff that happens. One of the ways I like to put it, see what you think of this, is I like to stop identity theft. And I'm not talking about finances. I'm talking about those things that happen to us that make us feel less than, that make us feel stupid or not smart enough or whatever it may be. So that's one of the things that I love to do.
Yeah, I get it. I always say no matter how, even in your darkest days, you can find something positive in it. At least
Mhm.
I try it for me. Going through it and then fought for it on my 20s, and now in my 30s is where I'm ready to, like, oh, okay, let me share this with others, because when you're in it, you like think this is it, this is forever, I'm never going to get out of it. But with tools and resources, we can get to a better place. So what are
Mhm.
those that you share within your podcast? When did you start your podcast?
I've had my podcast for 5 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Um, some of the things that I call it turning our baggage into luggage so we can have the life we've dreamed. And that's the phrase, the program, the workshops is one of my workshops that I do. And part of it is looking for the gift in the adversity. What can I learn from this? How can I utilize this? Now, these gifts, when I talk about a gift, they're not wrapped in pretty bows. They're not presents that we want to receive. We weren't go, oh, yay, that was on my wish list. No, none of that. Oh, but there are things that happen that we can grow, we can learn from if we allow ourselves. We sometimes repeat them,
Mhm.
but learning and growing and beginning to say, when I say I'm going to learn and grow, it means I'm getting through this. It makes me look down the road instead of feeling like this is a forever thing. Because
Mhm.
I felt like that, haven't you?
Oh yeah,
I was like,
my whole
yeah,
20s.
this is going to be my whole life, and my whole life is ruined. I felt all of those things. And when I began to say, what can I learn? And to get a bigger picture that there is, let's pretend our life is a book. And what kind of book do we want it to be? Do we want to stay stuck in one chapter where the bad guy's winning? Or do we want to flip the page and start a new chapter? It's our life. We get to write the book. We get to choose what kind of heroine or hero we want to be in our
Mhm.
book. We get to do this and begin to say, this is what I want. This is who I want to be. All of those actions, because depressing and anxiety thoughts are all based on actual things that haven't happened yet, but might, but they're bad. And where I'm talking about is picturing what you do want. It hasn't happened yet either, but it's having faith in the positive, and it shifts our perspective. We do have the power to choose joy. We do have the power to choose what we want to continue to think about.
Yep, we do. And I love that. I really can relate. I can talk to you forever because that's the whole point, that I started the podcast, is just to get there to show somebody, a different way, give ideas and how to survive whatever it is that is rough. So how can I have my dreams without sacrificing my health or relationships?
And I'm supposed to do that in the next 10 minutes, right?
No, you're fine. We got time.
Oh my goodness. The biggest thing is, first of all, define what you do want. We think about, would you say that the average person thinks more about what they don't want than what they do want?
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Yes.
I'm guilty.
Yes. And so we spend more time focusing on what we actually don't want to happen. And then we're kind of surprised when it keeps happening. But whatever you focus on is multiplied. So the first step in having your dreams with harmony is focusing on what you do want. So, for example, if you let's say you've had a bad relationship. And so I'm thinking, I need to have I don't want to get hurt again. I don't want to get hurt again. You ever felt like that? I have.
Yeah.
I don't want to get hurt again. And so I'm focusing on not wanting to get hurt. Now, when I say focus on what you do want instead of saying it that way, what if we said, I'm going to have a healthy, safe relationship and I'm going to choose wisely? It feels different, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It just feels different. Okay, I don't want to be fat or unhealthy. But I'm thinking about picturing myself fat and unhealthy, overweight, whatever word you want to use. We've used them all about ourselves at some point, something negative about ourselves and our body.
We're very mean to ourselves.
We're very mean to ourselves. So instead of saying that, say that's what I don't want. Let's say instead, I'm going to choose healthy foods and health activities. Feels different. So the first step in actually having the life of your dreams is choosing what you want and focusing on it and not focusing on what you don't want. It's easy to flip it around. One side is fear-based and negative and cloudy and depressed. And why bother? And the other one is hope and expectation. That's the biggest first step in getting your dreams. The second step would be, what is important to you? Harmony. What does harmony mean to you when you hear that word?
I know. What is that all about?
What do you think it means? Let's talk about it.
I just introduced peace to my life last year. So I'm interested about harmony.
Mm-hmm. Harmony to me, another word is alignment.
Okay.
Peace is involved. But if someone's asking you to behave in a way that doesn't feel authentic to you or right, no matter what it is, it could be actually doing something that you disagree with, lying or, behaving in a manner that you don't want to behave. That's not an alignment. It could be asking you to be an engineer when you're an artist. They're different ways of thinking. So whatever is in alignment with you is going to bring harmony. Whatever's an alignment that's important to you. And at the age you are, you're still discovering that to a degree.
100%.
And that's okay. Yes. And so allow it to be what feels good to your intuition, to your spirit. What feels good what feels peaceful. A good way to describe the feeling on the inside is as if you're seeing a red light or a green light. I ask you to do something and you feel a red light or a green light on the inside. That's when no, I don't know why, but I'm not supposed to do that. And some of us have done it anyway and paid. Haven't you? Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And so beginning to pay attention to your intuition, listening to your spirit is the way I word it, is beginning to listen to that, because you can begin to discern when things feel in alignment with you. If you think about the word disease, if you were actually to separate it, it's dis-ease. And when something is not at ease in us, it causes physical problems as well as mental. And so when we can begin to pay attention to that, then we can add more peace, expectation, joy, hope to our lives. It's all what you feed on. Have you heard the story? A young Indian boy asked his older father, it's like, there's part of me that wants to do good, and there's a part of me that seems to not. How do I win that? He says, whichever one you feed the most wins. So the negative part that feels depressed and sad, or the part of you that wants to be hopeful and joyful, who are you feeding? What are you feeding the most? What are you meditating on? What are you reading? What are you listening to? All of those things help to influence your joy and your peace so that you have an amazing life.
I absolutely love that, and I agree with you. For me, I used to say like anger was my best friend, and then depression, pity party, it was a party. Like, hey, depression, walk in, let's do this. And anxiety, that one just knock on your door and like just comes out, burst your door, doesn't even knock on your door, just burst your door. And I had to do the hard work, and I had to spend some money on my mental health. So I love that you're a coach, because like I had a mentor for 2 years, and it was because I needed to get rid of my guilt and shame and responsibility that didn't belong to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't do that without speaking my trauma out loud, and finally seeing myself not as a victim, but at least give myself grace and compassion for what I did go through, but finally be like, okay, that doesn't define you.
Yeah.
And you got to move forward. And are you going to spend your 20s how you spend your 30s? Now you're getting close to, by the time we're recording, is close to my birthday, my 36th birthday. So when this airs, I'm already 36. So like I'm there around the corner from my 40s. Do I want to keep spending the time how I do, where I recognize now, and now I have the self-awareness that I can be like, oh, shoot, depression is here. Let me cry. Let me get into the feelings and do some journaling, because journaling is my go-to tool when it's for
Mm-hmm.
depression. When anxiety, then I go through my things that is for anxiety. So now that I have a self-awareness, it's a lot better, but it doesn't do that till you can speak your stuff out loud and
Mm-hmm.
get rid of that guilt and shame that doesn't belong to you at all.
Yep, that's true.
So how do you overcome disappointments?
I heard a story about a woman who had attended a seminar, and during the self-growth seminar, the person said to them, what if nothing that happens to you is actually bad or good? It is the determination that you make about the circumstances that make them good or bad. I'm not sure I completely agree with that, because there's downright evil in the world. But just in this scenario, allow me to finish the story. So the woman was entertaining it. She goes, well, I'll try this out. And this woman had a particular tendency to slip into anxiety and depression when anything that seemed to be bad to her happened. Now, she had children, she was married, and she came home, and her husband came home from work early, and he said, I lost my job today. And she wanted to freak out about it. They had bills to pay. They had situations to take care of. And she said, as the instructor at the seminar had said, give something 3 days before you allow yourself to freak out and begin to believe that something good could come out of it. So every time her mind wanted to go, oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to eat? All of the things that she would go, no, on Friday, I get to freak out. But today, I'm going to believe that something good is going to come out of this situation. So it would be the next day, and she'd do the same thing. Oh my God, no, I can freak out on Friday. I can't, something good can come out of this. And it's not good or bad. It's what I make it. So I'm going to choose that this is going to be good. So she gets to Thursday evening, and her husband had been out looking for a job, and he came in and he said, I got a job and it's closer to us. I don't have to travel as much and I get paid more. Now she could have a whole week of freaking out, but because she determined that no matter what, things can work out for our good, is a big way to overcome disappointment. Because it's our expectation of what we think it should have been that sabotages us. We didn't get the raise, we didn't get the job, we didn't get the boyfriend, we didn't get something that we think it should happen. But it could work out for our good if we changed our expectation to good. So how does that story hit you?
Man, it rocked my world. And I was like a little bit smiling too, because the other day my friend called me and I was going to a birthday party for another friend's daughter, but she called me at the right time having a breakdown. And because of the way we communicate, I had told her, like, okay, I need you to put the breakdown on pause and I'll call you back when I'm done. And then you can start crying all over again. So that threw her off. She's laughing now. And I was able to calm her down before I went to did my thing and then come back to call her. And then I call her back once again because of the relationship that we have. I call her back and I was like, okay, are you ready to cry again? Let's do this. Have your breakdown. But you're saying that story gives me like, okay, I see how I'm feeling right now. I am acknowledging you, so I'm validating my own feelings. But I'm like, okay, right now we cannot deal with you. Just like you would talk to a little kid. Like, okay, you're feeling big feelings right now, but we still have to clean your room, and then to get something positive, until you can calm your nervous system and do that. Now, I haven't tried that. I can't wait to try it for myself
Yeah.
because I'm the person that it could be an hour and that hour can throw off the whole week.
Yeah. I'm not actually, I'm going to take it a little further. I'm not saying to necessarily put it on pause, but beginning to look for things to turn out well instead of expecting everything to be bad. Another way is to get over disappointment is forgiveness and releasing. And that's a huge part of, and forgiveness is very misunderstood as well. But that's another huge part of overcoming adversity and disappointment that happens to us, especially when there are people involved.
No, yeah, and like I want to clarify, like I love that you are acknowledging the feelings because that's like the biggest part when you are feeling a breakdown, a disappointment, anything negative. If you don't validate your feelings, it's gonna be hard to move on, to do anything, to look at the positive or try to find something positive. But I love it. I have my breakthrough. I don't know if I explained it right, but like, thank you. I can't wait to put that the next time that I have a bad day. Is there anything else that you would like my listeners to know about you or your mission?
um, I think the important thing that I wanted to bring out with that story is we get to choose. We really do get to choose whether we want to be sad. It isn't. And the other thing I want to mention is, or we want to choose joy. I'll finish that sentence. Is learning to be able to acknowledge feelings that we're having, the emotions that we're having, without giving them an elevated state in our life. We put our emotions like they're on a throne and they rule us. Then actually, we are having the emotions. The emotions are not us. They're part of us, but they're not all of us. And that getting that fortitude that there's more than that, to us than just emotions. Have you ever thought, are emotions truth or not? Have you ever had emotions about a situation that turned out to be not true, that really wasn't the case?
I mean, 100%. There's a times it wasn't
Yes.
there, but at the
Yeah.
moment, they're true.
Well, I'm saying
Yeah,
truth,
yeah, 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 yeah.
not true, but truth. And there's a difference between that. So emotions do not equal truth. If we had an equation, we feel them. They're validated, but that's not necessarily, sometimes they're wrong. They're wrong about situations. So you want to know the secret, what feelings really are?
Please.
Feelings show you what you're believing about you. Let that one sit a minute. That's
Yeah,
kind of like, what?
yeah.
Feelings show you what you're believing about you or the world, but they show you what you believe. So if I go to a party and I'm believing nobody's going to want to talk to me, and then people don't really seem to pay attention to me, it seems to be validated. Nobody likes me. Or if I went into the same party believing that I'm friendly and everybody wants to talk to me, I'm the catalyst of whether that's what I'm experiencing in my world. And so feelings show what I'm believing about me. So if you ignored me at the party and I believed I'm friendly and amazing, I'd wonder what was wrong with you instead of what was wrong with me. Does that make sense?
Nope, 100%. I can see it
Okay.
so freaking clear. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I got a friend of me at work, and we call each other that because we both have a strong personalities. But now that you say that, it's 100% true. I have never seen it that way because I felt so judged by her, and I felt like she made me feel so small. But she's been saying the same thing that she said to me 10 years ago when we started our friendship, relationship, co-workers,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it. And now that I am loving myself, loving my life, like I don't care what you say about me. I am who I am. Love me or hate me. I'm like, she gives me the validation. And I'm like, I don't even need the validation, but she's not giving me validation. She's just saying the same thing that she's been saying for
Mm-hmm.
the longest time. Is that now I'm able to receive it because
Mm-hmm.
I'm aligned with what she's saying. So it had nothing to do with her. Man, that's true breakthroughs in one podcast interview. You're amazing. I have enjoyed this conversation with you, and I can stay here forever. Like, please teach me the ways. But can you tell us more about your coaching? I'm sorry, you were
Yes.
going to say something.
No, that's fine. Yes, my website is the letter I, vibrantliving.com. And there are some free workshops and different resources. The link to my blog and podcast are there. And one of the other buttons I want to highlight is if you need somebody to talk to, you can schedule a consultation with me, and I will be happy to try to guide you to the best resources to help you along your journey. So whoever's listening, if that's you, let's talk.
I absolutely love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode. Hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. You know that you can find my podcast in all major platforms as well as my YouTube channel. One way that you can help us, creators, is follow and subscribe and like on social media and tell other people about us. So check out the description of the episode for the links for her and me. Have a blessed day.